Coming up on Network Africa. Tropical storm Anna continues to wreak havoc in the western region of Mozambique. The United Nations says it's deeply concerned with the recent coup in Burkina Faso. Plus, amid human rights concerns, U.S. approves $2 billion arms deal with Egypt. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shobowale. We begin in Uganda, where at least 9 people, including a child, have died following floods and mudslides in Kisoro district in the southwest. The Ugandan Red Cross says 8 of the bodies have been retrieved on Tuesday afternoon, adding that the 9th is a child that was caught up by the mudslide while running. On Wednesday, the Red Cross says it's providing emergency relief for some 300 families affected by the disaster. However, the heavy rains destroyed homes, roads, and other infrastructure. Now to security matters. Uganda's military spy chief, Major General Abel Kandiho, has been removed from his position weeks after the U.S. imposed financial sanctions on him over alleged human rights abuses. According to a Ugandan army statement, Major General Kandiho, who was replaced as head of chieftaincy of military intelligence by Major General James Burungi, has been posted to South Sudan to head the security monitoring system. The transfer comes just days after President Yoweri Museveni's son visited Rwanda for talks with President Paul Kagame, a trip that marked warming relations between the neighboring countries after years of tensions. Rwanda had earlier accused Major General Kandiho of working with its dissidents. Major General Kandiho's deputy has also been redeployed to head the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. Meanwhile, President Yoweri Museveni says Uganda wants to curb its borrowing and boost exports in sectors such as meat and dairy as the East African country lifts restrictions triggered by the coronavirus pandemic. The president says he plans on expanding the country's meat, leather and dairy trade and add value to other agricultural exports, such as coffee, which has long been one of Uganda's main foreign exchange earners. Uganda's trade push follows several years of reduced Chinese lending to the continent and has programs designed to offer relief to indebted countries as they recover from COVID-19-induced slumps start to expire.
Uganda can do much better without borrowing, in my opinion, especially borrowing for what they call budget support, balance of payment support. We don't think that is a good borrowing. But we shall manage, because now the economy has been growing at like roughly 4%. Without tourism, without transport fully, without the hotels. Now they are opening up, so the economy will resume fast growth. Good Christianity or even good economics to impoverish your customer, the one who is buying from you. But by cancelling this debt to those people, that money will be spent here, the money we are paying them now, and once the Ugandans have money in their pocket, they will buy more products. Some of the products are from those countries. So, economics and morality would point in the direction of debt cancellation.
The Senegalese army says 2 of its soldiers have been killed and 9 are missing after clashes in the Gambia, a country almost totally surrounded by Senegal. The troops were part of the West African peacekeeping mission that has been deployed in the Gambia for the past 5 years. Senegal's military says the men clashed with southern Senegalese separatists illegally smuggling timber. Reports suggest the separatists are probably holding the 9 hostage. One of the insurgents also died. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says he's deeply concerned with the recent coup in Burkina Faso, stressing that the role of the military must be to defend their countries and their people, not to attack their governments and to fight for power. Speaking to reporters in New York, Mr. Guterres appealed to the armies of these countries to assume their professional role to protect their countries and re-establish democratic institutions.
The recent coup d'etat in Burkina Faso. The role of military must be to defend their countries and their peoples, not to attack their governments and to fight for power. We have, unfortunately, in the region, terrorist groups. We have threats to international peace and security. My appeal is for the armies of these countries to assume their professional role of armies to protect their countries and re-establish the democratic institutions. Always celebrations for these kind of situations. It's easy to orchestrate them. But the values of democracy do not depend on the public opinion at one moment or another. Democratic societies are a value that must be preserved. Military coups are unacceptable in the 21st century.
And back here in Nigeria, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency is asking the media to be part of the first responders of emergency incidents to curb misinformation when disaster occurs. This message is coming from the Director General of the State Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Femi Okeosonyitolu, who explains that the idea is to put an end to misleading information and to also reduce panic among residents when tragedy occurs in the state.
In June last year, the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu equipped the State Emergency Management Agency with all necessary tools to help first responders carry out their duty effectively. LASEMA, established for emergency management in Lagos, works alongside with the fire service, neighborhood safety corps to ensure that any form of disaster is taken care of as soon as possible. In achieving a seamless emergency operation, the Director General of LASEMA calls for media collaboration to help disseminate appropriate information to the public. He also says the agency is re-strategizing on how to improve their response time, and anyone obstructing the movement of first responders will be dealt with according to the law.
Information dissemination during emergency is very, very poor in Lagos State. And if you recall, the main problem of disaster that occurred 27 January in 2001 when we had a bomb blast at Maryland, Ikeja. The major problem there was poor information dissemination. We will have 5 mortalities, and you go to the social media, you will be reporting 10 mortalities. You want to cause panic in the system. We will not allow that.
Reducing the issue of disaster is a collective effort, and so the hand of partnership with LASEMA, the traditional media, may help put an end to an unconfirmed emergency incident in Lagos.
And on a lighter note, preparations for the Chinese New Year are ongoing in China and around the world. Preparations began on January the 24th and are expected to continue until New Year's Eve on January the 31st, with the New Year beginning on February the 1st. Our correspondent, Layo Adegoke, was at an event hosted by the Chinese community here in Lagos, Nigeria, to kickstart the preparations.
It's the most important holiday in China and for Chinese people all across the globe. While most parts of the world have already celebrated entering the year 2022, the Chinese like to do it in style, meaning a lot of preparations for the grand event, this year, the Year of the Tiger. Here in Lagos, the Chinese community kick-started preparations amid government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, students and well-wishers in attendance. Although absent, Consul General Shu Moimi expressed delight in the celebrations, speaking of the promotion of cultural communication between China and Nigeria. Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, represented by the Director General, Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, Oluwabunmi Amao, highlights the relations between both countries spanning over 5 decades.
I wish to assure the Chinese government and its people that Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Information and Culture is fully committed to ensuring that the culture is properly harnessed to contribute its quota in promoting friendship and cooperation between the two countries. The field of culture and education are some of the areas that are featured prominently in the friendship between China and Nigeria. And as of 2019, Nigeria had the highest number of African students studying in China. There were about 6,800 Nigerian students in various fields, many of whom received scholarships from the Chinese government. Culturally, even though Chinese and Nigeria have vastly different historical experiences and cultural tradition, China has been remarkably successful in its efforts to promote Chinese culture in Nigeria.
Director General of National Council for Arts and Culture, Otumba Olusegun Rushewe, lauds relations between Nigeria and China, especially in culture and arts.
Considering the bilateral relationship and diplomatic between China and Nigeria, their New Year festival is a unique celebration, which Nigerians always celebrate with them, because they've been very open-minded in dealing with our people, and they've been very supportive. And we share a lot of similarity in our culture, both countries. So for me, we are happy to see the wonderful outing and the performances, and of course, the unique celebration that we share with them.
Celebrations continue with various dances and art troupes showcasing the rich and vast culture of Nigeria and China.
Because of this one, we are Chinese community give back for Nigeria community. This one no be first time do, and this one no be last time do. We are continue more and more. China get one language. We show love, we share love, more love will come back. We share blessing, more blessing will come back.
The Chinese New Year is celebrated by more than 20% of the world. This year's New Year 2022 falls on Tuesday, February 1st, and celebrations culminate with the Lantern Festival on February 15th, 2022. Layo Adegoke, Channels Television News.
There's also come on the program. Well, if you're seeking answers on Egypt's most iconic tourist attractions, you might want to get a smart dress because it's embedded with a QR code which you can scan for a guide. More details in a moment. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. More reactions are trailing the situation in Burkina Faso. The UN Human Rights High Commissioner, Michelle Bachelet, is urging a swift return to constitutional order in the country. According to OHCHR spokesperson, Mrs. Bachelet stressed the importance of preserving the hard-won democratic and human rights gains made in the country during her visit to the country last November.
The High Commissioner deeply deplores the military takeover of power in Burkina Faso yesterday. During her visit to Burkina Faso last November, she had stressed the importance of preserving the hard-won democratic and human rights gains made in the country, noting in particular the peaceful legislative and presidential elections that had been held in 2020. We call on the military to immediately release the president and other high-level officials who have been detained. We urge a swift return to constitutional order. We do not have personal contact at the moment with the coup leaders. But as I said, what we saw in the country was, of course, a multifaceted crisis. We stress that military takeover is not the solution. Really, there needs to be meaningful dialogue with the participation of people from across the spectrum, to be able to air their grievances peacefully and to be able to resolve the situation together. And we are urging that the president be immediately released.
The U.S. State Department has approved the sale of 12 military transport planes to Egypt in a deal worth more than $2 billion. Air defense radar systems and other related equipment are also being sold for another $300 million. The arms sales comes despite recent criticism from the U.S. President Joe Biden's administration of Egypt's human rights record. In September, Washington placed on hold $130 million in military aid already budgeted for Egypt. Officials cited Cairo's failure to improve the rights situation. The UN has condemned the killing of civilians in cattle raids at Jonglei State in eastern South Sudan. The UN's peacekeeping mission in South Sudan says armed youths from Murle community carried out attacks and cattle raids in Dongrut and Machine villages, killing 32 people from the Dinka Boer community. UNMISS says it's concerned that the attacks have led to people fleeing their homes. A number of children are reported to have drowned in the river while fleeing from the attackers. And over to Mozambique now, where Tropical Storm Anna is wreaking havoc in the western region of the country. A VIP entourage is said to have been swept away in a river. The governor of Tete Province and Tete City's mayor were returning from surveying damage wrought by the storm when the 4 cars in their convoy were whipped away by the river Rovubwe, though they were rescued along with most of the other passengers. Relief authorities say at least 15 people in Mozambique have died across the country as a result of the storm. Tete Province has been worst affected. 6 people, including children, have died there, most of them after being crushed by falling walls. Anna first hit the north of the country on Monday and has left a trail of destruction that includes homes, hospitals, schools, electricity lines and bridges. Although the tropical storm has downgraded, officials say heavy rain, strong winds and thunderstorms will continue in central and northern regions. And joining us now is Lifa Lawrence, a Zimbabwean journalist based in Manicaland region, which is close to Mozambique. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Speak to us about the latest at this time with the storm that has devastated the western region of Mozambique, where you're near.
In terms of response, currently reports say aid workers are concerned that the storm could cause extensive damage and displace thousands of people. The Mozambican Red Cross Society and partner, the International Federation of the Red Cross, are reported to have deployed teams to undertake assessments and respond to community needs. Teams are currently on the ground providing aid services to those impacted. The International Federation of the Red Crescent Societies have released over 140,000 Swiss francs from its disaster relief emerging fund to support local preparedness efforts and to prepare to support 20,000 people in the aftermath of the storm, with a further 100,000 people expected to receive recovery assistance after tropical storm makes landfall.
And how are survivors coping? What plans have been put in place by the government to support them?
In terms of government's intentions to compensate victims of the storm, it's not yet clear as to how the Mozambican government is going to be handling that, because the country is currently still under this emergency, is still undergoing the tropical storm. I think it will subside. It is said to subside on Friday. And the situation seems to be the same in Zimbabwe, in eastern region, that is Manicaland province, where trails of destruction have also been left by the storm.
And like you mentioned, the region is not out of danger yet, is it? Officials say heavy rains, strong winds and thunderstorms will still continue in central and northern regions. Speak to us about that.
Well, the Meteorological Services Department, the Zimbabwean Meteorological Services Department, had projected a weakening tropical storm. Its impact was, however, felt through heavy rains and through strong winds in most parts of Manicaland province last night, where it left trails of destruction. So, like I said, we have 4 classroom blocks at Nyamfaru High School, which were completely destroyed, while 9 families were left homeless as the tropical storm depression swept through Nyanga district. Some roads are currently impassable due to uprooted trees blocking the roads. Not much damage has been reported in the previous cyclone Idai had hit districts of Chipinge and Chimanimani. But in Mutare, some houses were destroyed in Greenside and Penalonga, while the bridge linking some residential place called Nutville Park and Golden Peacock has also been destroyed. So this is the current standing in Zimbabwe, and in Mozambique, that's where the greatest impact is at the moment, and we have reports coming in that thousands of families, thousands of people have been displaced, and aid workers like those that I've listed are on ground assisting these victims to make sure that they are evacuated to safer places at the moment.
All right, then, Zimbabwean journalist Lifa Lawrence, thank you so much for the update, and do stay safe. Moving on now, after years of civil war and instability in Libya's Benghazi, a privately owned Al-Rawasi hospital for vet medical services is regarded as the first medical facility to offer advanced treatment for animals in the country's east. Take a look.
Despite years of war and internal fighting in Libya's Benghazi, a new private veterinary hospital offers hope to animal owners. They can now treat their pets in a specialized medical center. Al-Rawasi Hospital for Vet Medical Services is the first of its kind in Libya's east. Having opened only a week ago, the hospital already received cats, dogs, horses, and tigers for critical treatment.
In our society, people treat animals as if they are members of their family. They worry about them and get sad. Some say this culture does not exist in Libya. No, it greatly exists. Honestly, the humanitarian aspect exists, and it makes you do whatever you can to save the animals.
Animal owners say they're relieved to have such services offered in Benghazi, as they used to transfer their animals to hospitals in other cities at extra costs or visit small vet clinics which did not offer thorough medical treatment.
X-ray machines and blood testing machines are now available. We didn't have this in Benghazi. We had doctors coming from the western side to check horses, which put an extra cost on us.
While most services at the hospital are paid, it offers free treatment for stray animals.
Animal owners are now very happy because there is attention. Before, you used to take the animal to a veterinarian or a clinic. The animal may or may not recover. Now, this is a hospital that is the first in the eastern side. I don't know if there is a similar one in Tripoli, but this is excellent, honestly. It makes animal owners happy.
While average citizens might find it difficult to secure treatment for themselves in Benghazi, animal owners are rest assured that their pets can now find safe hands.
And that's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tenny Olash. Bye for now.